Hello, you're listening to Questboard, a podcast where we make up random side quests. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Tiffany. And just so you know, we are not professional writers in any way, shape, or form. At least we don't claim to be. We just really like tabletop RPGs, and we do this for fun.
That's right. And we actually have an update. We haven't met for our Monster of the Week campaign in so long because everyone kept canceling. I've seen canceling.
Might need some counseling after this.
No, well, one of the players do. For a stupid reason, not even a legit one. But because everyone had like things going on, it was just not aligning.
I always say coordinating adults is like herding cats.
Yeah, well, one of the problems was like it's hard or more ridiculous because we set up a system where even if one person is gone, we could still play, but there was always more than two or me.
Yes, we can't play without you.
Yes. And so like the entire time I've had what we did planned since the end of the previous session.
You were prepared.
Yes, I'm just saying that because of what I did for this session.
Oh?
Which was this is our fourth session of the campaign. And so the first three are really terrifying. Like,
yeah, super dark, scary.
First one was setting up the world, and so it was an easy one. The second one was more investigative, gory, just basic. The third one incorporated real world, like out of game kind of mechanics that I had you guys play. So the fourth one
creepy.
was the introducing something else.
Introduction?
Yes, which was sometimes I'm going to do a joke one.
Yep.
And so this one, I was like, okay, you guys start as usual. Whatever you guys want to do as like little fluff filler things. If you want to go shopping, buy something without knowing what the actual threat is, I let you guys do your shopping or do some small things beforehand.
What was it? I went and bought something. What was it?
You bought walkie-talkies.
Oh, right. I went practical and got us some walkie-talkies.
Which is good if you ever split the party.
Yes, which we tend to do.
Yes. I thought that was a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys did that, and then I gave you guys the line of a little girl being scared because she saw a monster come out of her closet and she ran.
Yeah.
And so she's been very tired and sleepless.
We instantly latched onto that.
And
just like, oh, new thing.
Yeah, well, I kind of shoved it down your throat.
Kind of, sort of. Because we were all just like, no, I'm good where I'm at. Don't really need anything to do. And you're like, you guys to go to town?
No, it was fine because, how did I? Oh, it was through the message boards.
I was
form
on my message
emails.
forum.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
The person in town that I'd made friends with contacted me.
Actually, side note about that, I thought you would be more latching on to that character when I made that character in the beginning.
I made a shut-in character who's not used to making friends.
But I thought because this person is someone you know from the online forum and has a lot of the same hobbies, I thought you have latched on. That's my misinterpretation. But anyways, it's fine because
it works out.
I work around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you guys were given like, hey, this little girl is like monsters coming out of the closet. I'm like, okay, that's very traditional. It's very generic and all that stuff. So
it's a classic.
4 teenagers went to a little girl's room and 2 of them were guys. And that was funny.
Yep.
But you guys investigated and all that stuff. And you were like, okay, I was anticipating you guys to set up an ambush or anything like that.
Which we kind of did. And
so, yeah, you kind of did. And then I had the monster come in. I tried to best describe it like creepily as possible.
Mm-hmm. And I thought it was pretty creepy. I was kind of starting to make the jump that my husband did as to
which he called it out beforehand. And I was like, I should have thought more about like the description of monster because I was going super generic.
Yep.
I was calling out for like sharp claws, bipedal, just matted hair, deep purple kind of glow to it. And then when you guys attacked, I just had the monster scream out and like cry and all that stuff and speak English.
But right before that, my husband said, oh, this is just like Monsters, Inc.
Yeah, he says like, oh, it sounds like Sully. Is this Sully? And I'm like,
Dagnabbit.
No, but you guessed this.
It's basically purple Sully.
Yeah, slowly.
Sully.
But yeah, so he guessed it. I'm like, okay, but I can't back out now.
Yep.
So then the rest of the session was you teaching him jokes because he sucked at being funny.
Mm-hmm.
Because I set it up where it was just right when the protocols changed to being funny instead of scary.
Yep.
And so he sucked at it. And so my entire plan, and this was after the third session, I already had this lined up of this is going to happen. And then half of the session is going to be the party teaching a monster to be funny.
Yep.
Go for it.
I had fun.
Your husband did not. He needed the
I just
therapy
liked
afterwards.
the fact that you gave me somewhat of a use for my blacklight because you made the thing's hair react to blacklight. You said it glowed purple.
Yeah, basically, I just wanted to give a use for that black light where I was like, okay, you know how platypus's hair
Exactly what I was
react
thinking
to UV light? It's like that.
You want to hear something new I learned about things reacting to UV light? A squirrel's skeleton glows pink. No other
How
skeletons
do you come
glow.
across this kind of information?
Internet.
That sounds creepier than I saw it in person. I don't know which one's
No,
worse.
it was a random video that popped up on one of the meme sites I look at. So it's just like, hey, guess what? Did you know a squirrel's skeleton glows pink? And then they show it and you're like, oh my gosh, that's pink.
That's weird.
Right?
So
Don't go killing squirrels, friends. Just know their bones glow pink.
I mean, I don't know what you do with that kind of information, but okay.
Some sort of weird macabre escape room thing.
Real bones from real squirrels being in an escape room. That'd be interesting.
That would be.
I think that would creep a lot of people out.
Yes.
So I don't think any designer would do that, but
Probably the kind of escape room where you have to sign a waiver.
I kind of want to do one of those. Except for it's like no horror.
No thanks. I'd rather not do one of those. I don't want to put myself in any form of danger.
As long as it's no horror, I'm fine. I'll do it. Down in the comments.
Yeah,
any good ones.
Let us know if you have any good
Do
ones.
I have to go on a trip? Preferably in the US, but I recently got my passport, so maybe Canada.
Really?
That's as far as I'm willing to go. I could drive up to Canada.
I know, but there's so many other cool places you could go. There's a big world out there.
Flying sucks for me.
Ah, right. I forget. You're not good at flying.
It's not a fear thing. I have motion sickness.
Yes.
And the medication only lasts like 5 hours, so anything longer than that.
I grew up flying on airplanes since I was like 2 years old, so
I've
kind
learned
of used to it.
I've learned to not like traveling.
That's unfortunate. Anyway, we're here to make a podcast, not about us complaining about traveling.
Well, one of us complained about traveling. But yeah, so great session, all that stuff to wrap up that.
Oh yeah, to wrap up that little bit, the monster of the week. That was fun. I had a blast. My husband, he was a little salty about it not being a combat scenario.
Little? He was very salty. He was pouty.
He was downright pouty, actually.
Because he didn't have fun in the setup, because he's an action kind of guy.
Yeah, he's set up to be an action
He doesn't roleplay
character.
that much. He doesn't plan anything. He doesn't like to contribute on plans.
Yeah.
Or investigations.
And he can't min-max in that game.
And so I gave a non-combat monster, but I thought it would be just a funny thing. And I knew the first goofy one had to be Monsters, Inc. because you guys had to constantly think this is an actual threat for me to do the twist of Monsters, Inc.
Mm.
The other ones I could sprinkle in just fine. The
Right.
other not goofy ideas I have.
So there will be more.
Maybe. If I find a good spot to squeeze them in.
Gotcha.
But
Noted.
he's not going to like them.
Eh,
Oh, well.
he'll live. You just need to sprinkle in a little combat for him to have a good time.
Well, the goofy ones won't have combat.
Maybe give him a combat scenario in the dojo or something to make up for it.
I'll have to think about that because I'm not entirely sure. This is the first time we're playing this system, so.
Yeah, we're all learning.
Anyways, I guess we should make a quest for our actual podcast now.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
And we're doing one from Of Metal Magic.
Woo! You gotta die?
And we're doing the D12 list
Yes,
that we're
D12.
slowly working through
Yeah, eventually I'll make it more. I'll add more stuff.
when we stop being lazy.
That'll never happen.
Well, I got a 1,
You've already rolled a 1.
so I guess we're going up.
All right. Number 2. Living Dead attack Brayton. Adventurers and mercenaries are needed immediately. Undead are spilling out from the ruins near the village. The guards sent to help are barely able to hold them off, let alone recover in time for the next wave. So long as the sun is above the horizon, we have peace. But it isn't enough. Please, if you are capable, we need fighters to either bolster our ranks or delve into the ruins in hopes of setting the dead to rest once and for all. We are also growing desperately in need of food and healing supplies. 1 gold per day fighting or healing. 1,300 gold to whomever ends the undead siege. So it's either a wave thing where you're just surviving until you've got enough gold and you want to duck out, or you delve into the dungeon and stop whatever is going on.
You know, if I take this face value, this sounds cool if I had 2 D&D groups, one low level, one high level.
Interesting.
Because the low level, I could run them through waves and all that stuff in their campaign. And for the high level group is actually going into the ruins to stop it. So then you have like these 2 groups that it's happening at the same time kind of sense.
Interesting.
And I think that'd be cool. Only for the perspective of the DM because you get to see both perspectives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like one of those moments of like in Lord of the Rings where the fight in front of the Black Gate with Aragorn and everyone and the Men of Gondor. Well, then it cuts to, Frodo and Sam at the mountain. And so it's kind of back and forth. It's that kind of mental like jumping that's really cool, but that's only for the DM.
Right. And again, only for the viewers because the others have no idea what's going on.
Yes. That's what I immediately thought when I saw this.
Gotcha.
But we're basing this off of just a single group.
Yes.
If you want to do that, if you have 2 groups, and that'd be very impressive if you do, that's set in the same world.
That would
go
be
for
interesting.
that.
If you're like running the same campaign
Well,
with
I've
2
seen
different groups. Like,
I've seen a D&D podcast where they do that.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's called Dungeon and Randomness.
Okay. I think I've heard of that one.
I've talked to you about them before.
That's probably where I've heard it from.
Where they do like 3 groups and they're all in the same world and just on different continents or doing their own thing. And then a later season might refer to the consequences or actions of a group did like a season or 2 before.
That's pretty cool, actually.
And so other groups are dealing with other people's problems or going in as a different faction to take care of something and all that stuff. So it was really cool, but I feel like as a dungeon master, that's exhausting.
That does sound pretty exhausting because you have to remember.
Unless this is your full-time job.
Yeah, true. There are those forever DMs out there who make that a job, and honestly, more power to them because that's pretty epic.
It'll be cool to be a full-time DM.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like stressful at the same time.
Only...
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand how it would be stressful because since you're making this your profession, you would want to be prepared for everything.
Well, you know me. I always want the highest quality in everything I do. And so if I knew this was my job and all that stuff, I think my stress would just make me a perfectionist about it. I'm like, this has to be high quality, as high as I can make it.
Yeah.
And if I see something that doesn't look good, I'm going to hate it forever.
Oh, no. I mean, that's the problem with any artist out there. They focus on the little mistakes that they can see, whereas everyone else can't see the mistake for the glory of the entire art piece itself.
No, it still sucks. Anyways, we should actually stop ranting.
Right. So, okay. If you choose to do the waves, it's just, I don't know, progressively more difficult waves of undead spilling out of said dungeon.
I feel like, we can't contribute much to this.
Yeah.
I think what we could contribute to this is the source.
Right. What's causing this?
What's causing the source and how to defeat it. I think that's the only thing we could really do to
right,
this.
Because it just turns into a classic dungeon crawl. Go find a really cool crypt map or build your own. Make sure to include various treasure rooms and things and neat things to happen, traps, all that fun. But really, the one thing we can add to this is what's causing this? Is it a necromancer? Because that's a classic. Is this a necropolis?
I just had a thought.
Uh-oh.
It's not an actual idea.
No.
But do you remember? I gotta look up the name of the episode. Episode 99, Monster Spotlight, A Silken Bed to Lie On. If you remember that episode.
With the Lamia, right?
Yes. we made that where, the Lamia moves into these ruins that the players have cleared before.
Because it was a necropolis, right?
Yeah, we put what happens if you just put a necromancer in there? What happens if this is the mission that before?
This is that moment. We found it.
I'm sorry for to tie where we're using yours as a piggyback on a previous episode. But
No, it totally fits though with the Questboard cinematic universe that we are creating. And it doesn't even if you don't want to do the Lamia thing, this is still standalone. It's a necropolis that needs to be cleared out. And afterwards, guess what? We have another quest that you can tag on to that if you so wish it.
Yeah, just check out that episode after this.
Yeah.
So we could still do anything we want for this.
True.
So because it doesn't have to be like a necromancer per se. It's just the players get to clear out the dungeon based off of that episode.
Right.
If you remember, we said the players clear them out so that they've seen the traps before.
Right.
And just recognize everything. And then later in the campaign, the Lamnia things get happen. And then they just go into it again. So it gives a sense of the world changes as you're doing things. People move in where you've cleared out. It's a ever flow of the world.
So, what if the thing that's causing all of this, what if it's some sort of like large magic crystal that has been slowly growing and gaining power over, I don't know how long it's been there. You can make up however long it is to fit your storyline. But it's finally reached a point where it has enough power to start raising the dead or creating these undead monstrosities.
But where are the bodies coming from?
Well, if it's a necropolis, there's a lot of bodies to choose from. Necropolis is a city of the dead where people go and bury all their dead, so there's a lot of dead bodies there. That's why I was also saying, well, maybe it's creating them, like it's pulling them from the aether. Or it could have opened a portal of some sort, or maybe the thing is just a portal to a realm of the undead.
I had a stupid thought.
You're full of stupid thoughts today.
I'm always full of stupid thoughts. What are you talking about? This is more of a silly thing.
Oh, a stupid, silly thought?
Yeah. It still relies on a necromancer.
Okay.
But what if a necromancer, and this is just ruins, it doesn't have to be a necropolis. That could make it more weird that so many undead are coming out of this just ruins and not a necropolis.
Okay.
Because where he's getting the bodies is. What happens if an alternate dimension, plane of existence, or whatever, I don't fully know the lore. This is homebrew because I don't fully actually know the lore. They open a portal that's within the heart of this ruins.
Okay.
In which they use this portal to basically dump bodies. Like it's a mafia on the other side. And they use it as a dump. And so then the necromancer figured this out. I was like, this is an unlimited supply.
I love this.
And so this is where they get the bodies from.
How about there's just like a magical array or a magical like symbol on the ceiling, and whenever like maybe in the other plane of existence, whatever it ends up being, it's like a well, and when they throw the bodies in the well, it just pops out of that.
Okay, we
symbol
could
on the
do
ceiling.
that, or
then just goes splat.
I was also picturing like if we wanted to do the sigil in the ceiling, the portal opens up and you see through it, and then you see just a couple burly like guys with a cart and just dumps it, and then the necromancer's like, thanks guys. Or just like gives a wave like, oh, they understand each other, and
they've kind of formed a friendship.
Relationship, and then it just like holds the bodies away. And they're like, well, it's just leaving no evidence, so I don't care what you do with it.
It's a great way to dispose the body. No one's ever going to find that.
And so then they just don't question
Maybe
it.
On the other side, they have some sort of like person who can open a portal, but they just don't know where the portal goes.
Yeah.
And they've been like, well, it's a great place to dump trash.
But instead, it's like a mafia style where they want to dispose bodies.
They've got bowler hats on.
I was half tempted to be like, okay, this is... The portal leads into Call of Cthulhu, where it's 1920s, 30s Chicago.
Okay.
But then I'm like, how would they have portal technology? And why would they want to dispose?
There's magic and stuff in that game, like a cold horror.
But why would
stuff.
they want to dispose of bodies when they sacrifice the whole bodies that be taken for the dark stuff?
Maybe they're only sacrificing the souls, and they have to do something with the body afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, if the players like want to stop the necromancer, but then also jump in a portal to stop the body dumping,
They're gonna have to switch.
they have to switch over
games.
to Call of Cthulhu.
And you're gonna have to figure out how to switch their character's class to fit Call of Cthulhu.
Yes.
So maybe that's when you like pause the campaign and be like, all right, if you're doing this, create a character in the Call of Cthulhu rules that is basically your character, but if they existed in this world.
That or Monster of the Week.
Yeah. Think about either.
Monster of the Week has some classes that has magic.
Yeah, they can overlap a little bit.
That might be easier because Call of Cthulhu, everyone's not, well, it depends on the class you are.
Yeah, I know.
In Call of Cthulhu, I don't think anyone has capable of using magic in that system.
I don't know. I've never played.
I believe they don't have any. They're like regular people.
Gotcha.
That's trying to experience this horrible sanity of dark eldritch horror.
And if the party is a higher level, if they do end up in a Monster of the Week scenario, they can be
give
whatever.
them some levels.
Yeah, give them some levels. So a lot of the player books in that say, hey, when you level up, you get to choose a move from another playbook. So they can be this class, but also have moves from another class. So it could still work.
Sure. I think that one's a stretch if you want to do that.
Yeah.
I guess this is what we're settling on.
I mean, I like it. I like I don't really know where the bodies are coming from. Their clothes are weird and all, but hey, oh my gosh, I just realized the undead the characters are fighting are all going to be wearing clothing from whatever world they came from.
It's either that or the necromancer just wants the bones. What happens if a necromancer that specializes in bone
just
necromancy instead of flesh? Because it's like, it smells too much.
Oh yeah, flesh is ugh. So he like cleans the bones and then reanimates them.
Yeah, he just wants the bones.
Okay, so it's just a skeleton army.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
And if it was like, 3.5 or if they were only vulnerable to blunt damage.
Oh, I remember I think I was playing Pathfinder one time. I forgot punching as blunt force damage and my sword was doing nothing, so I essentially made myself a meat shield while our cleric with her mace was taking out all the skeletons, healing me, and then taking out more skeletons. It was great.
Yeah, there is if you think realistically and not just like D&D 5th edition rule set, realistically, bones is better because it's a smaller target. If they shoot arrows, there's more air now, and bones don't really get affected by cuts.
No, or diseases, really.
Or diseases. It's much cleaner. Yeah. Now I'm imagining like a necromancer who's a clean freak or a hypochondriac.
He totally is. He's totally just like, oh yeah, all that flesh, you.
Now I imagine instead of saying, oh, thanks, guys, when the portal opens, he's like, oh, okay. And then puts on those like dishwashing, like rubber gloves, like, just grabbing the bodies, like gingerly.
Like, ew, 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 ew. Like he rolls out a tarp or something every time he knows they're about to drop.
So bloody.
And he just like drags the tarp over to a vat of acid or something that can only. Or like, actually, no, he's probably got beetles.
Actually, real quick.
Like those corpse beetles.
Yeah, I've seen time lapse of those. It's kind of weird seeing a time lapse. Real quick, what is a necromancer's name?
Oh, right. He's got to have a name. Do we want a silly name? Do we want a normal sounding name?
Well, this is somewhat of a serious thing.
Okay.
We're just putting a silly reason behind it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I found one. It's Maximilian Odom.
I don't know if that sounds like a necromancer name.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't.
He sounds like a leader, general,
He does. How about Ashwin Blevins?
Ashwin is closer.
Yeah.
And Blevins sounds like a fancy name of someone who went to school but got disowned.
Yeah. Okay.
No offense if that's your last name. I'm sorry.
I've never even heard that name before. I think it's pretty cool sounding. So.
Okay. So we got Ashwin. But yeah, I don't think we have anything else to really
It's pretty cut and dry. It's like you get to build a dungeon, you get to add whatever traps you want. Have fun with that, by the way.
And also, it depends on the player's level to the kind of enemies and danger for those traps.
Right, because like what would a skeleton be like? What's the challenge rating there? Where is that bestiary? It's a challenge rating of 1/4.
Yeah, so
you can throw hordes at them, and it's fine.
There's a lot of variants on undead.
Right.
That you could find.
Their armor class is 13. It includes armor scraps, it says. So they can have like little bits of armor here and there. And their hit points are 13.
I think, yeah, It's the lower end for the defense of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And then closer you get to the center, that's when the higher stuff goes.
Right. And this says they have a short sword and a short bow.
Yeah.
And then if we look at a skeleton knight, armor class is just 15. It's a little bit more. 37 hit points. They're a little chunkier there. And they've got melee weapon. It just says melee weapon.
What's the challenge rating?
2.
You see, that's better.
It's not much more. Yeah. But they've got battle axe or long sword, it says. Or a great sword.
No, I think that's pretty
depending
good.
on like what you want them to have. So they can be different variations.
So we don't really have much to add.
Not really, no.
Okay. Well, before I wrap up, in the past, whenever we do this, I keep forgetting, and now I remember to do this. Of Metal Magic, on their website, they have the posting and all that stuff,
yes,
right?
yes.
Well, they also have a lovely section of like his suggestions of like
Ooh.
what it could be and all that stuff. And I
Mhm.
keep forgetting, like in the episode, I want to, after we make one,
Oh, yeah.
react to like read and see what his initial thought was and see how far away we were.
Okay.
Because most of the time we don't even get close to what he was thinking. Do you want to read the ways to approach?
Sure. This quest opens the opportunity for your party to do a variety of fun, quintessential fantasy TTRPG activities. Fight off waves of undead hordes, bolster and fortify an outpost, and of course, dungeon delve. Although delving into the ruins is required to complete the quest, the other tasks can play a vital role in the village's survival. Consider what would happen if the party went straight to the ruins. How many villagers would be lost in the next wave? Even helping to provide strategic and structural support before departing could increase their chances.
I didn't think about the...
I didn't think about the village at all.
Well, we were like, okay, that's self-explanatory. But yeah, it could be where if the players might need to bolster and set up a defense so that they feel rest assured when they go off and do the ruins.
Right?
I didn't think about that.
Me either.
We're heartless people.
This is an instance where choices early on could affect the larger picture. Regarding why undead are spilling forth from the ruins, such a massive and ongoing amount would likely mean one of two things. A tremendous amount of power or a gateway of some sort.
Well, we kind of.
Or
did
both.
that.
This brings to mind a variety of cliche ideas, like somebody building an undead army or trying desperately to pull back the soul of their loved one, which are still perfectly fun and valid villain motivations.
Hang on.
What?
Pulling back the soul of a loved one makes me think of like, I call forth the soul and then grabs it by the palm. Not you. Toss it over the shoulder. I call forth the soul. Not you. Toss it over the shoulder.
It's just that on repeat. Oh my gosh.
And that's just a byproduct of like all these undead summoning. It was just like, not you. Not you.
Yeah. So, however, if I were to give this a unique spin, this is Ty speaking, somebody has managed to bind a Grim Reaper in a ritual for immortality or is in the midst of the long and grueling process of it. If the Reaper is already bound, this is what little they can do to summon the aid of someone strong enough to free them. If, in the midst of a ritual, these undead are simply a byproduct, the party will either have to free the Reaper and hunt down the near-immortal jailer, or fight in a boss battle where they can only win by freeing the Reaper first.
I didn't think about a Grim Reaper. That's an interesting approach.
Yeah, I really like that idea.
Do you want to read possible repercussions? Because that's kind of
Yeah.
amongst
So
his
depending
ideas.
on which route you take, this town is unlikely to survive for much longer without your party intervening. Whatever experts it had will no longer be available and will have a greater effect on the region's supplies and economy. Moreover, undead may be roaming the land, and an immortal mage is on the loose with undoubtedly nefarious objectives.
Interesting. Yeah, we didn't go that approach at all.
Nope.
We did sort of do a gateway, but
Yeah, he
Not the
mentioned gateway,
same.
but like
not the gateway to like
Undead
1920s mobster
Yeah.
modern like US.
It's definitely a different take on it, and I absolutely love reading like the ideas that Ty has for these as well. It's super cool,
Well, because we would read it and we would just go on a completely different tangent.
which is what we do.
I mean, to be fair, we could be going back to this like a year later and depending on our mood, think of a completely different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Your mood really affects how you do things
Yes,
or how you see things.
it definitely does.
And so, yeah, that was an interesting approach. If you want to check out this original website or any of Ty's other posts, go to ofmetalmagic.com. He always uploads and has different posters and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you put this in your campaign and the Lomnia one, you could let us know down in the comments of this YouTube video on X at QuestBoardPod or on Blue Sky at QuestBoard. If you have a posting of your own that you want us to make a quest out of or tie into our previous stuff, let us know on any of those sites. I think with that, I wish you all good night.
And happy questing.